And she would not post pictures of me or didn't change her status or anything on Facebook.
Oh, really?
But it didn't last. Like, it was a really, really short thing.
It was kind of that, like, not honeymoon, but the girlfriend makes a good point in the article, too, or in the question, where she says, you know, I've been burned in the past. I've done the announcement thing, and then now I have to unannounce it, or everybody's asking me why we didn't last. So in your story, that sounds like what was going on. Like, the girl's saying, well, you know, let's give it some time here.
Yes.
Before I make it, like, Facebook official.
Right, which was fine. Like,
right, but it wasn't 2 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 years later, even if it was something like, I'm afraid that by doing this, I'm going to jinx the relationship.
Right.
I would think after 2 years,
it
would be to the point where, okay, we can probably, it's
I
probably
agree.
safe at this point.
Yeah, and this excuse that, well, gee, I don't like being claimed. And his argument is, but isn't that kind of what dating is? like, like, it's monogamy, right? Like, that's the whole concept, is like, I have sort of said, I am not available. I am not on the market anymore. I'm with you. And you kind of do the same. So, like, that kind of goes back to what's she like at work? Like, if her work friends are like, oh, how was that wedding this weekend? And she's like, my +1 was wine. You know, like, ha ha ha. Like, she doesn't tell them she has a boyfriend. That's a pretty important omission, right? And then, like, it's also misleading other people. If you did that in the here and now with real humans that you interact with, it would seem really suspicious. Right. I think that applies online, too. I don't think online is some, like, special space where, like, if you're using fake names and it's not, you know, really you, then yeah. But, I mean, if this is your freaking Facebook or whatever, like, it does matter.
Yeah. I can relate to you, the listener, in how you felt seeing that. I would feel pretty hurt by that too.
Yeah.
If my significant other posts a picture and
2
claims
years and then says my +1 is wine.
And
I promise you, Nick, she hasn't posted a picture of this dude in 2 years because she's not sure if it's going to work out. But if she gets new shoes tomorrow, there's pictures. She's also posting pictures of her lunch. Like, so there's a lot of things that she's not committed to. Like, those things are going up. Like, if she gets a new car right now, it's going online. You know? But, like, she won't post pictures of this guy because it might be awkward one day to tell people it didn't work out.
Right.
You know, that's too much.
Is there any way, Jim, that you can look at this situation and empathize with her in that I see that she has a point about blank?
Yes, I guess. Like, if you've had bad relationships, and I get this, the newest reality in dating now is this extra dynamic. Because in the olden days, you were held accountable for how you interacted with your significant other's coworkers and friends whenever you saw them, right? And so, like, there was only so many areas that you could really be a burden to them. But now in online universe, you can really interact with a lot of their life, and you can be a real problem for them. You know, if you're awkward, or if somebody comments, and like, girls post lots of pictures of themselves, and so, like, if lots of her friends, men and women, comment and say, oh, you're beautiful, whatever, and then, like, you have this boyfriend who's on there like, what are you talking about, punk? Like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, some crazy guy? I can see where she's now reluctant, and she's like, you know what, I just don't even want to post things with you. I'm just kind of excluding you from this part of my world. This is just an innocent part of my world. It doesn't mean to me what it means to you. But this comes back to something you say a lot, which is that it's not the thing that happened. It's the meaning of the thing that happened.
Right.
And in her defense, the meaning of this might not be significant. She might look at this and go, no, man, this is the place I share cat videos. This doesn't mean anything. What matters is my dad has met you. You know, what matters is that my family knows you.
Yeah,
that's who counts.
That's a good point. Yeah, so I mean, and that's another variable here too, where it almost kind of seems like we've got a different story, in that the family knows about him, her friends know about him, everybody it seems knows about him. It's just he's not part of her image on social media.
Yeah.
So if you're making that argument, then I can agree with that, and that maybe this is just, well, it's social media. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not that important to me. It doesn't mean much to me. So that's a good point.
You know what might be happening here? Let me play really deep devil's advocate. Watch what's going to happen. She's going to write into the show, and she's going to go, hey, here's the rest of the story you didn't know. The social media he's talking about is LinkedIn. Like, I only use LinkedIn, and I don't post anything about him or any pictures.
Okay. First of all, you know that's BS because no one uses LinkedIn.
I am all about LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, then you probably know her.
But watch it be something like that. But also what's interesting, though, and this brings us to my point about LinkedIn. Each social media platform has its own rules. And, like, I kind of know the rules for Twitter. Twitter's not personal. Like, Twitter is a place for me to yell at Domino's whenever my pizza's late. You know, that's mostly what I use Twitter for. Instagram is apparently not super personal either. It's just a place to highlight snapshots of the universe and, you know, get a lot of compliments on things. Like, that's pretty much the concept as far as I can see it. You and I don't know because we still have a terrible Instagram. We don't know how to use it.
And a big thank you to our 4 followers.
Yeah.
Who follow us anyway.
You people are the real ones. All you other listeners, you do not count, okay? Yeah. Those 4 heroes who followed us on Instagram before anybody else, there's nothing even there. They are loyal. But, you know, that's an interesting point about what social media is it, but I mean, I'd be interested in what the listeners think. You know, is this something that needs to be thought of in our digital culture? It's meaningful to omit a relationship online and to not talk about it. And, you know, we've taken these kinds of questions before, Nick, where people, you know, ex-girlfriend or somebody, you know, messages a guy and says, oh, how are you doing? And they're talking and he never mentions that he's in a relationship.
Sure.
And that would be not okay. We'd all go, oh, come on, man. Like, you knew what you were doing. You're not an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're just doing that really publicly and, like, you know, assertively, proactively, just not admitting this person exists, and then you tell them, I'm not going to admit you exist, now we're okay with it. And it's sort of like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like how Trump is totally committing collusion, just he's doing it in public. It's like the same thing. Like, if you do it secretly, it's an issue. But if you do it out loud, oh, I guess we're okay with it. Like, that's kind of what she's doing. She's colluding with the Russians, Nick.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering, too, like, what her friends think of that.
Yeah, right.
Is this a red flag for any of them? And then also, what is the rest of the relationship like?
Yeah.
You know, because he's making the argument in here stating that I feel like she is ashamed of me. And if the listener were here, one of the questions I would like to ask him is, do you get this vibe any place else outside of social media?
Right.
What's the relationship like outside of that? Do you feel like she's ashamed of you when you guys are out together in public or when you go places together? What is that like? I don't know. There's a lot of information I'd want to gather.
Yeah. No, but okay. So to the listener, first off, I think you get the feeling that we're probably with you on this. We're kind of validating your disappointment and your confusion about this. So I'm with you on that. As far as trying to get solution focused, I would try to think about areas in your life where maybe she has had a feeling of insecurity or a feeling of wondering whether or not, you know, you're validating the relationship, and bringing that example to her to maybe try to help her understand what your perspective is and what you're feeling. At this time, it sounds like she doesn't even admit that she can empathize with your perspective at all, which is a real gap. You know, whenever both of you are speaking different languages on an issue, that's really a problem. But, you know, I mean, I would challenge you to maybe try to have that. It sounds like you've already really attempted a rigorous conversation on this several times. You've brought it up. And, you know, it's unfortunate because it just, the meaning of this social media and what it means to be acknowledged in public, you know, I'm with you. I think the majority of listeners probably see it from your perspective. But for whatever reason, your girlfriend either A, really honestly with all of her genuine heart does not see it from your perspective, B, has some kind of past trauma about this that stops her from being okay with it, or C, is sort of behaving suspiciously and trying to keep her options open, or enjoys the flattery and doesn't want to give that up by letting everybody know that she's sort of taken. So, you know, any of those, I think it's going to be solved with vigorous communication and hopefully getting somebody else involved. But I like your point, Nick, of a third party. You know, what does a friend think about this? Somebody that really speaks her language. Yeah, that would be interesting to kind of hear. So, yeah. But listeners, we need you again. We need you to write in. We need to know, is this normal? What's the deal? Yeah, because everything about this to me just really kind of rubs me the wrong way. I feel very uncomfortable with it. The wedding thing really was wrong to me. Like, you're intentionally declaring a falsehood my +1 is wine. And I get that it's a
Even
cheeky
if it's
little
a joke.
Yeah, but no,
It's
you're
still-
intentionally misleading people. I didn't have a date.
Yeah.
But don't acknowledge the 2-year relationship over my shoulder in the background, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, could have just easily said, totally here by myself.
Yeah, right.
No one else, just me.
You know what? I think I've actually just solved this riddle. Okay, here's my theory. Ready? And this goes out to my friends at Fan Theory World. How they're always coming up with like an alternative explanation. Here's my alternative explanation. This is Instagram that she's talking about, and he's an Instagram boyfriend. Have you ever seen the videos of these Instagram boyfriends? So these are the men that carry around the phones that take pictures of the girls.
Oh,
And so like if you go to the beach, you see a line of women like in the sand, like doing the duck face, and all these dudes sitting there snapping shots, drinking a coffee, and like, you know, it's just hilarious because they're Instagram boyfriends. And so like that's probably what it is, dude. It's not that she's ashamed of you; it's that you're her cameraman, and so you're just taking all the pictures, and she's not about to give that up. You're not getting into the frame because she needs you on the other side of the camera.
Sure.
That's the deal.
And if there was only 2 human beings at that wedding,
That's right.
and one of them had to be the cameraman,
It's you.
Your theory makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there were more people there.
No.
Anybody could have snapped that photo.
No. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I want the Fan
is
Theory
not-
guys to write in with this one and give us the real deal.
Yeah, this doesn't feel good to me.
Conspiracy.
Does not feel good to me at all. But good luck. And right back in. Let us know. Give us an update.
Yeah. Let us know how that turns out.
Okay, so we've come to the next section of the show, which is apologies, corrections, and comments, reviews. Do we have anybody we need to apologize to this week?
You know, America. I think we could start with that. I would like to apologize to the metric system for not knowing it. I'd like to apologize to Instagram. We've done them no justice today.
And I would like to apologize to all of the Americans who actually do know the metric system.
All of scientists who actually know it.
We're sorry for obviously representing us in a horrible light.
Yeah, and as you heard earlier in our little ad break, we have officially opened up our Patreon. So the deal is that we want Pod Therapy to not just be ours. We want to share that experience of ownership and responsibility with others, because the mission of this show was to destigmatize mental health, to be able to talk about real life issues, real life dramas, real life problems with real life people who are real life hurting with real life therapists. And our hope was that we would get to introduce therapy and introduce the experience of talking to a therapist to folks who maybe would never have access to that. And we live in a country, in America anyway, that has a mental health crisis and a mental health drought. Mm-hmm. And so it was really meaningful for us to bring this show to the front, because we wanted this to be an intersection where it's good humor and warm and approachable, but also meaningful. And so if you are, passionate about the show, if you're passionate about mental health, then we invite you to go to patreon.com/therapy. We've created 3 tiers, and so we should actually explain what those are and what we're going to do. But the very first level is $1 a month. You could sign up as a $1 a month giver, and if you do, then you will officially be
a Therapal.
A Therapal. A member of the fan club. So you can be a card-carrying Therapal for $1 a month. And if you sign up, then our new commitment to you is that when you sign up that very same week, we are going to announce you on the show and thank you for your patronage and thank you for joining the team and being a Therapal, an advocate for mental health, helping us get the show out to the world. If you donate $5 a month, you can upgrade to a
Therapod.
Yes, and I continue to thank the person who gave us this on Twitter. So we've officially named our followers the Therapals, but we also believe that there is an elite unit among the Therapals, and they are the Therapods. And you have to go on to patreon.com/therapy to see, but there is an image of this, and it's basically a velociraptor wearing a suit, smoking a pipe. But yeah, that could be you. You could be not just a mental health advocate, but an advocate for all sentient species to have access to good therapy.
Yeah.
But if you want to take it even further, we have opened up only 8 spots, the Elite 8, and these folks are what we're calling the Thera Producers. And these are the folks that can give us a quote, a lyric, a statement. They can record their voice, and we will actually put it into our ad spot in the 2 ad spots that we do every week throughout the month. and we'll do that once a month for that person. And you can actually broadcast your own message, whether that's you endorsing mental health or giving people a shout out or encouraging people or sharing a quote or sharing a book title. This is us broadcasting your words. Now, we are going to have editorial oversight, right, Nick? Because we're scared that somebody's going to sign up and be like, Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
Jet fuel can't melt steel girders.
Right, that's going to be the first one. But if you would like to sign up as a Thera producer, we're only opening up 8 slots. You can go to patreon.com.